Hello, people. Here is a continuation of my opinion on a toxic workplace. Okay, so I was talking in my last video about the toxic workplace, about how some workplaces tend to get toxic and it creates a lot of narration around it. And we keep on thinking, we keep on talking about it, and some employees end up in an echo chamber where they point it out to one another during their coffee, tea, lunch breaks. And they keep on telling that, oh, today I woke up and I came to work doing my bit of effort. Despite everything, this person is being so rude to me, etc., etc. So, and what happens is that depending on what your friends in that echo chamber has been going through, they completely start to resonate with your idea that, oh my god, don't, don't even start, you know, uh, you know, before you had joined, that person last year was, like they would, oh my god, they would even talk like that. And you know what happened during that meeting? I had told that thing to them, and I know better than them, and they had done that. And like, you are talking about this today. And it is something that we have always faced. Okay, so these are the things that I have observed. Okay, at a toxic workplace, which for me was toxic not because of who they were complaining against, but mostly because of how uh, much people could complain. Okay, see, if I had a meter to scale or to gauge how much some people can just sit around and complain, I would be shocked, okay, to even know that how is that happening. Okay, how can somebody sit around and feel nothing about a person? Like, it is really sorry that, these people who are coming from a household, who are coming from a space that you might today need a shelter in, okay? And not today, tomorrow, anytime. These are also some people that have parents, they have family, and you go around talking this way, okay? Now, what is an alternative? I had an alternative to these situations, which were very um robust and radical. Okay, like I would just go out and like put my opinion out there, and like, since I was like back then very introverted, I would hardly find a way to even speak up and have a uh, not speak up. I never had a issue with speaking up, but I would always keep to myself. And to a certain extent, I also like that even now, you know. But then, yes, coming back to the topic. So, what happened is that I would directly go and speak up to that person, and I would tell everything blunt. Like, I would be 100% true, and I would make sure that I am very much profound in whatever issues I'm facing, and I would go ahead with. But like, sometimes a lot of people, they don't get to be like this. Why? Because not everyone gets to be that upfront. Okay. A lot of my friends often tell me, and they have always told me that you are kind of, like fearless, like you just don't care about a lot of things. And that is something that I am. Now, what else I am fearless about? I am fearless about, you know, so talking about being a bit fearless, I'm fearless about taking a step back from the whole soup of a situation that, like I'm talking to these people, this is what it is, but they would turn the whole situation around and they will say that, like it is not day, it is night. That, this is not a white color, this is a pink color. I have been in those situations where people have lied and others have agreed to those lies. They have been like, okay, completely understandable. Now, what exactly is it that I think fearless and a little bit courageous person should do? They should take a step back, okay, and they should observe that, okay, this is what it is, and instead have a separate group of friends, okay, who with whom you can continue to be productive, continue with your responsibilities, and continue with your life, okay, and instead of going ahead and getting stuck with that space with those group of people, you can keep on sharing your problems with these people and start to be even bit more productive. Why? So that you can be, you know under the limelight of the people, of probably those who can help you out a bit. And eventually when the time comes, you can, also start mingling. I'm and I'm sure that when I say start mingling, start talking, I don't mean that you have to be a complete friend with them. You can have a simple and a proper conversation with these people, and you can be the person who puts out the concern that, this is what is happening and what is it that we can do. Okay. Now, see, people, there is no proper way of uh, there is no proper way of being too honest, being too rude, being too upfront, being courageous, being fearless, etc. Today, if you have a fear that saying something out loud let you might get you into a space where you will be at a loss of a friend, of a colleague, even though they are a bit toxic, that will happen. Okay. Another thing is that, another thing is that, see, people, today you have fights with your neighbors, with your family members, with parents, with partners, with your siblings, right? Even with yourself. You have fights. What do you do? Do you instantly cut out on them? No, you don't. What you actually do is that you continue with life as is, and you forgive them, and you understand that life is a bit funny, and you move on. Okay. But when you move on with this idea that you will tell on people, you will put people back on their place, you will teach them a lesson, life probably will isolate you. You will find yourself in a very powerless, helpless, and a very sad space with a very thin boundary of protection. Okay. And you will be very sad to even look back and think that, oh my god, these people, in their most imperfect, most cruel way, could have been our friends. See, people, there are so many movies out there which teaches us generosity, which teaches us to be more conscious that not everyone will be like us. And still, you get to be friends with them. Okay? It teaches us against segregation, right? Then why are we so upfront in putting somebody under the spotlight for something that they have done? You know, okay, I understand that there are some kind of issues, violence, harassments that are unforgivable. Okay, but then again, just think about it. Isn't this the solution, that you are always connected to the people around? You are with some friends, you are with the right kind of people, and those are the people that give you a warning signal when something, they sense that something is going wrong from your side, something is going wrong from the outside. Isn't that true? Isn't it something that happens all the time? I think it is something that happens all the time. You alone can be happy too. Okay, now I'm coming to the very much core of the idea of a toxic workplace, that you alone also can be happy, people. Okay, see, your workplace is toxic, they are rude, those things are happening every day. You keep to yourself. I'm assuming that if it is a workplace, depending on depending on your shift, depending on certain other criterias, like where that workplace is located, how many departments are closely related to your department, okay, you can very much feel and think that this is okay, I am having a trouble with whatever is going on. Then how about I just um, keep to myself? It is also doable. There are many people who speak up to themselves that, like, I am here just for work and I keep to myself. And when I walk out of that space, the world is out there for me. Maybe you can join a club if you have money, because everything is costly. If you join a club today, you will be able to, I mean, you will be asked to be present at those activities. You will have to, you know, like, change the way you dress. You will have to do things a certain way. You will have to think about life in a different way, about how those are telling you to be. But there is something very magical about a workplace, isn't it? I think at a workplace, it is somewhere where people get to be a lot meditative. Okay. Like, why do they get to be meditative? They get to be meditative because they can just sit around, do their work, forget about the world, and have a simple conversation about important and also not so important things. Okay. So, when you are at a workplace that just lets you be, okay, and you see that there is this world out there where it is nothing more than expenditures, paying the bills, putting up appearances. So putting up appearances is a phrase which means that you are doing something whether you like it or not. Like, I remember that, like, this is a bit of a deviation from what I'm talking about. So, like, I remember that there was this accommodation where I was in Bangalore, Karnataka. How I wish to be back at this place. It's a very beautiful, very bustling, and very my kind of city. Like, even though I had that language problem, it is a very my kind of city. It's like very cheerful, busy, etc., etc. Okay. So coming back to the topic, I remember that the accommodation that we were in, it was a very peaceful, nice, quiet, and very comfortable. Some of my friends would even tell that, wow, you have got a luxurious place to stay. But yeah, of course, it was a very well decorated, tidy, and quite an exemplary place to live in, okay? Now, what happened is that we faced an issue that was a very minute thing, okay? So one girl in the building had done something that was wrong, but it was not a criminal thing. It was nothing. It was just something that we could have put it into her ears, given her the notification that, like, can you not do this? And just continue to be friends with her. But then there were a few other girls who kept on having recurrent meetings about all that. And they just kept on, pointing out to that person that they thought were the criminal. Okay. And I remember that I was back in my room doing something that I liked, okay, one of my hobbies. And then, eventually, you know, like this girl came to me, she knocked my door and she told me that, you have to, like, we are speaking up to her. We have to put it out to her that she's doing. It was the third meeting that we had regarding something very funny, very minute, and nothing at all. And I told her that, I don't wish to be there. And she told me, see, even if you don't wish to be there, you have to be present because it is a kind of a, like a thing, like just be present. So this is what the world is, the moment you move out of your workplace, okay, the world is filled with um appearances, expenditures, expectations that doesn't make sense to you. The world is filled with, what, how can I say, obligations that, you have to be there for. I have been in that place where I have helped friends out to that level that I didn't even care about productivity. I have been that, I have done that. It has happened to me. Being the person who is the flag bearer, the torch bearer of the clan of savior complex. Like, if I'm there, nobody gets away without talking a bit about their problem. And what do I lose? I lose money, productivity, mental peace, my zone, privacy, etc., etc. So, people, just imagine that yes, there are some colleagues who are toxic, who are sad, unproductive. Of course, they are probably untidy. You know, the way they speak is disgusting. Okay, and you being the person who has in one of my videos, I was talking about those eras, those geographical areas like Pleistocene, Carboniferous era. Okay, what is that other era like Miocene era, which is some 123 to 60 million years ago? You are a person who probably has been around in this place for, let's say, um, 30, 40, 23 years, and you get to decide that these people, oh my god, just think about the background they are coming from. I don't know what background they are coming from, but I'm sure they are coming from just another background that you and I and this laptop where I am working, this wallpaper, this house, this roof is coming from. Everything comes from the same place, and that is a mother's womb. Okay, people, that toxic person that you hate has come from a mother's womb. Okay, and that mother has probably has not probably, exactly, for sure, has come from a place that you have come from. They are made up of things that you are made up of, and that is what it is. It will never change. There is no till now there is no science that will be able to change that. Okay, so before, like I have been with, like I am really sorry if my ex-colleagues, managers, team members are listening to this, but uh, I have been at a situation where people call out on each other for coming from a different social background, different religion, different languages, caste, different skin color, and of course, different gender. And I mean, who has not faced that issue? Who has not faced that issue? So, my people, just ask this to yourself that when you have so many bridges that needs to be maintained, so many lost ships, so many lost opportunities, so many mothers that you need to be thankful about. Okay, why would you go to that base, that filthy level of just like putting a label of toxicity on someone? The next time you do this thing to somebody else, ask them that have they harassed you in one way, like because this video is meant for a lot of people, and a lot of people out there just like me, just like you and I, our mothers, probably our partners, they have mental health issues out there. I'm not going to put up more negative points out there, but when I say harassment, there are many kind of harassments, okay? Verbal, physical, etc. And these things can go into the most deepest and the darkest category of human sadness that you can think, okay? It starts with a bad touch and it goes to the level of God knows what, okay? So these are the things that you can't, neither can you escape as a person, irrespective of how much protected you are. And these are also the things that should be addressed. But I would suggest to anybody out there, okay, even if you are even if you are an elephant and still at work, okay, and I don't know what that means, but I'm just saying, like you have a right to be able to speak up. But see, I think that is the point where you really get to question that what kind of a background are they coming from? Maybe that is when you can go back and check that where what kind of a background are they coming from? Are they coming from a good background? Are they coming from a bad background? If they are coming from a good background, maybe you can bring about a bit of people from their family and speak up about it and have a, like, for example, I am like um I am thinking, like, what if I'm the HR and today there is this person who has spoken up to me that this another person has done this thing to me, some kind of harassment, okay? What would I do? It makes me concerned that what if this incident is real? What if this harassment is real? And this person B, who is probably under the spotlight for doing that bad thing, goes back to their household. What is it going to happen? Like when they're around with their mothers, when they're around with their sisters, when they're around with their fathers. Okay, has it been something that runs in the family? Of course, it is not just the males, it is also a concern for the females. Even the females do these things and they get away with it. Okay, they get to be touchy, they get to be kind, sympathetic, empathetic, they get to be around you. Okay, they get to be in your personal zone and nobody complains about that. So the moment you are complaining about some other guy, some other person being like harassing and pathetic, just make sure that you as a person Like I'm assuming, people please understand that, like I mentioned, I am not a perfect person. I assume whatever comes to my head, I put it across, okay? So I'm assuming that if you're a female and I'm the HR and there is this person B, okay, who has complained about this issue, then what do I get to do? I get to sit here, I get to speak to this person, okay? That, okay, this is what it is. I understand, I will take the necessary actions. But also, just because you are a female, it doesn't mean that you get to be touchy, you get to be around a lot of people doing whatever you think is correct and still get away with it. Okay. Now, coming back to the topic, it makes me concerned. It is at that point of time where I get concerned that, these people do exist, and probably their family backgrounds, if they have been so, what can I say? If they have been so, let's say, indulgent, that, okay, this is how your child is, and it's okay, you know crossing certain lines, and it's okay. So, what is it that we can do? People, please understand that when a crime happens, there is nothing that you can do. Okay? The best thing, like I'm talking about the worst case scenarios, like scenarios like these, okay? Bad touch, bad things, probably molestation. Okay? I wish I didn't have to say out loud about these things, but I am probably molestation. Okay? So, and it gets even worse. What is it that you can do? You can be as protected as you can, follow the usual rules of life, of being modest, of being a bit strict, okay? And please make sure that you have no way of understanding what a person is going through, okay? And see, since I am not a psychiatrist, or I'm not a person who is that profound, also I am not that intelligent either, to make sure that I know why do some people turn out to be like this. Okay, these kind of people, these how can I say, these people who are known to have a very twisted mentality, twisted behavior, they do exist, but I don't know what is it that contributes to this, and it is something that makes me feel very concerned. Okay, I wish there were far more research. Let's see. Now, coming back to the topic, that there are these incidents where we are. No, I'm just coming back to the topic of a toxic workplace where you know, where I'm talking about a regular day at work, a usual day at work. See, uh, if there is a situation where you are very busy and you know that you have added responsibilities, okay, that you have to be a certain way, okay, you have to do that thing, you have to earn money, you have to be productive, you have to do other things also, then you can continue. But it is true, as it is true in my case, that if somebody comes up and tells me that, oh my god, this is uh, like you have been so much busy with yourself, please help me out, I would probably be a little irritated, irked, angry, that how intrusive these people are. But then would also be a little happy that, like, okay, it's absolutely fine, you know, in this world where everything is not so permanent. Somebody is trying to take me out of my work. There are some friends who are trying to distract me a bit, etc., etc. And that that you know that helps me. Being a little distracted helps me. Just like being a bit unproductive also helps. Okay, so just think about it in a more funny way. That does it help the person to be a little rude? Does it help them? Maybe they are going through something. Maybe there is something very odd at their household. Maybe they are using their toxicity as a way of an escapism. So does it help them to be rude to you, to take it out on those in their surroundings? Probably it does. Okay, so just think that, like, if you are somebody who is just about to leave your workplace because of how toxic it is, like, I would like to come back to the topic that, you can go, you can leave your work, you can go to another place of work, and eventually what will happen? You will be out there, first of all, looking for jobs, probably creating certain amount of debt because you are not earning that much, and then you will be in that space where you are at a different workplace very soon, and then what will happen? You will be, uh, what can I say, you will be at that zone where you must make one another happy. And the moment you join another workplace, another company, or something like that, what will happen is that you will have it in your mind that you have been too much around, complaining in that circle. And suddenly you are at a different place where you are expected to do things in a very different way. Probably you have some added responsibilities. Maybe the salary hike has been a lot, maybe the salary hike has not been a lot. Okay, but you just can't carry on being yourself anymore because you have left those existing privileges. Okay, like like just think about it. If at your workplace, at your previous workplace, okay, there were some people who were toxic, you could have, like, that could have been an anchor in your life, like talking about those toxic people. Now sometimes it also does to miss the toxic people a bit. Okay, like maybe you even miss those toxic people. So what is it that you can do? Okay, please understand, people, that thinking from any criteria of life, being too much, okay, about a toxic situation, about a toxic person, people, doesn't work anymore. See, if we are constantly complaining about something, then we are probably running after putting a person down, okay, shaming in them some way. And that is so sad. And just imagine that, uh, you can continue with work, you can carry on with life as is, and you can still be happy, okay? And like, it's okay that there are some people who are toxic, but it is not okay for you to leave your work and then, like, go to and create a hole where create that hole and then jump to that next place, thinking as if the resources are unlimited. Okay, now I will talk a bit about climate change over here. See, people, I mean, sustenance, like sustenance means maintaining whatever you have, is important. Okay, even if things are broken, unsatisfactory, not so available. Okay, now, as I was mentioning, that in climate change, it is a crucial thing to understand that not everything is that available, not everything is that limitless, And like today, let's say, see, let's say today you want to, like uproot a tree. Okay, I'm sure you are not the kind of person who wants to uproot a tree, but these are parts of me. Okay? Like a lot of trees are being uprooted, a lot of trees are being um, taken out of its space because there has to be a lot more other things. And these other things, they make me happy. Okay, like for example, looking at workplaces, looking at office spaces, they make me happy. Work makes me happy. And in that way, like let's say there was this climate change police out there. Okay, in that way I am a toxic person, you are a toxic person. Why? Because you are out there doing a bit of shopping, you are out there doing something, buying wooden furniture, but that makes me happy. And at the same time, I am aware and I'm also concerned about the losses I go through because of climate change. So, so in this case, we are also toxic. So what should we do? Living with it is the only concern. Okay. And like if just think about it, like you felt that okay, today uh, I am living with a toxic people and I don't know, I have to do something. No, you don't have to do anything else. Just create a distance. And like I'll tell you, you don't even need to create a distance. People who are being rude, toxic to you are creating their own distances for free. You don't have to take any measures against them. They have their own um labels, upon their head that just be a little careful. But have you ever thought about it this way, that probably in one or the other phases of your life, even you have been a little toxic? Okay, I I might end up being a toxic person to those around me. Okay, see, like I mentioned very early in the video, that nobody understands that they are being toxic. And even if they understand, I'm not sure. Probably even they understand and they have some motives behind it. But it is also okay. What is not okay is that, see, today, if you look at the world out there, it is filled with all those things, right? Like I mentioned, you are happy or you are unhappy, that will not hamper what is going on in the world unless and until you are a leader. Now let us get to talking about the whole idea about what we should be doing when something some verdict has been passed at the workplace. Okay, for example, let's say something is being told to us that you do this, you do these changes, you it will not work like this anymore, you have to do these changes. It's okay, you carry on with life, you follow those changes if it is doable, but don't ever have it in your mind that okay, you are not okay with these changes, and suddenly you move out of that space and you go to that another space with a lot of hope that there the people will be understanding, there the people will not uh, expect extra load of output from you, there the people will not be um, happy or unhappy with you, there you will not be met with things that you are not even considered relevant for. Forget about, like if you have been complaining about how people have taken away your credit, you probably will join the next company and find that people don't even care about your relevant skills that you have worked so much hard for. Just think about it. It can get sadder, it can affect your entire things. So yeah, people, adjustment is the way. And not just adjustment, but also looking at life through a very funny lens. That I need to adjust, and I need to be happy, and I need to understand how life is, and I need to be productive, resourceful, and I need to put things together, okay? And whatever calamities life has, you know, poverty, sadness, sickness, an unhygienic setup at home, you are probably ready for living. I mean, you are probably either you are ready or you are not ready for those things. So that is what your priority should be. Not, moving along with or against a toxic workplace. So, people, when we come across this term next, that, the toxic workplace, it is it is not really like a haunted workplace, right? Even though it would be a little bit funnier to have a bit of a ghost at the workplace, but then it's okay. What can we do? Not everything is meant for our entertainment. Please understand, okay? If you keep on gossiping about one issue again and again, you are providing some entertainment out there, but not all the time. Entertainment should not be welcome all the time. If you get to be that productive, where you are that resourceful, then it is a great thing to live with. Okay, so be happy that you have work, be happy that you have you know people who are toxic. Be happy that our world still has people who are you know uh, capable enough to steal our credit from us. Imagine if you were living in a world where there is no ambition. You would be lost. You will have nobody else to share your thoughts with, and just slaves. So, people, do you like to be around with slaves? I'm sure you don't like to be around with slaves. You like to be around with people who are that helpful, that cheerful, that resourceful, knowledgeable with you. So be a little careful, okay? And again, since I this whole thing is about a toxic workplace, I would mention that just step a little back and check with yourself that are you protected? Is this work protecting you from all the problems in the world? Then yes, okay. Then you should not be that rude or that worked up about a toxic person either. And if your entire workplace is toxic, like everybody is toxic, everybody lies, then I don't know, it is a bit intriguing that how do they get along with their day anyways. But if everybody is a liar, everybody is telling on one another, you just can't trust, then it's okay. You don't need to trust. It is another load off your shoulder. You are here just to do your day's job. You get to be productive, meditative, quiet, peaceful. You get to have a computer, work with it. Bus, that's it. You don't need to worry so much about other things at all. What else do you want from life? Like there are some situations where you don't want to, you're just sad and you just want to be in your, like household clothes, and you just want to not come to work. But then if you are in that a toxic workplace, you just get go to work. like do your thing, not mingle with much people, and come back home and be happy. Okay, so that was my take on a toxic workplace. Okay, now just make sure that since like it is a whole idea, just make sure that you don't end up being the person who is that toxic to your uh, family members, to your neighborhood. And how do you make sure you do that? Okay, like there are many things that we can concern ourselves with, probably, to be a little bit more productive. That is number one, that you can be a little bit more productive, and you can add to the wealth of your family. You can be happy and cheerful about it. Then you can be, uh, like a bit more like knowledgeable person. Like you can finally have the courage to speak up the truth. Then you can again, once again, be that childish and childlike, and be a person who has a solution. Like for example, you see that there this like there is a neighbor who has a recurrent problem, probably finances, probably some other issue. Just take out some time and think, okay, like like how to stop being a toxic person. Okay, first of all, you if you are somebody who is taking out some time to think about others and their issues, then you are not that a toxic person anymore. Okay, and also you just like speaking from the point of view of climate change, how about you finally start to take public transport instead of private cars? Okay, how about you keep your windows open instead of turning on the AC or the fan all the time? Maybe you can just use the sunlight to do a bit of your work. Okay, maybe you can use as many uh, options of electrical things instead of opting for other options that has an adverse effect at the environment. Okay, also you can just you know adopt plants, feed the poor people around you. Maybe you can uh, how can I put it across, you can just put out a jar of water, okay, for those people who are walking out in the heat. And yeah, that is what it is. But then it is also okay to be a bit toxic. If you are a toxic person, it is also okay. Okay. Be happy that you are being toxic in this usual world. But our world, I'll tell you, if you are that person who is toxic and listening to this, I'll tell you, our world is slowly becoming a better place to live in, okay? A much more habitable, a much more connected place to live in. It is a place where you get to have a proper communication with people. You get to learn things from each other. You get to be associated with more than one kind of work. Okay, diversity, like I was talking about diversity, right? So this is this world that we are in. And what can you do? You can be uh, you can either choose to be restrictive, you know and of course in that way you will end up as a toxic person, but you can also choose to be a little more, like where you just let go, where you are just fine, okay, and you enjoy life as is. Okay, so yeah, people, this is my take on, you know, a toxic workplace, toxic things altogether. And yeah, like that is what I think. Let me know what you think.